They think just because we're not as loud as everybody else that we're going to be submissive and okay with our role being shit. Personally, I think they need a little motivation to speed things up. Yeah, fuck it. We're going to try to start some shit. This video is for my tank mains out there. So if you're a DPS or support, back out now. There's plenty of other videos on the channel that pertain to you. This one's not it. So go ahead. Get out of here. Shoo. Okay. Now that's just us, tank mains. Listen. Someone or some group within Blizzard and Overwatch or whatever you want to say, they don't care about you. I've come to this conclusion. I'm going to go over why, but listen, they don't care about you. They don't care about your time, mental status, none of it. They do not care about you. They don't even care about the role. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the reason why I think it's time that, we kind of boycott the role. I'm going to give specifics, and I'm also going to give my opinion on why I think this will end up helping us as individuals more than we've gotten here in the past. Be sure to comment your thoughts and opinions down below. I do love responding and reading them all. So why am I calling for a boycott? Why do I think tank is so miserable? Well, let's talk about it. First up, it feels like nobody appreciates you as a tank. You genuinely feel like public enemy number one, or at least I do, game in and game out. I genuinely feel like when I enter the game, just by picking a role, I'm lessening the experience for everybody else, enemy and teammates alike. Just from picking a role. It makes me feel dirty in a way. With that being said, when you actually select tank, you'll notice a lot of toxicity being thrown your way. A lot. This just adds to the weight of me saying that nobody appreciates tank, because why is it so easy for my own teammates to always act like I'm the problem? Now sure, maybe I have my games where I'm not doing good, or I'd go out of position, or I do something that I shouldn't have naturally, but every time, as much as I'm getting it, as often as I'm getting it, no, that's not, that doesn't add up. You're consistently being called out for your mistakes, no matter how minuscule it is, and it's just so annoying, because on tank, everyone knows you can't make one. You cannot make a single mistake, because if you do, that will cost you the fight, and in the long term, costing somebody that, or costing your team that fight, will cost you the match. Which leads me to my next point, and it just strangles my soul. But every time you lose, it will always be on the tank. When you win, it can be on anybody else. It's always on anybody else. But when you lose, it is 100% of the time always on something that the tank did or did not do. Always, 100% of the time. Despite how much damage you get, damage mitigated, despite dying only one time, that one time cost you guys a fight, right? So at the end of the game, your team will be saying tank diff if the enemy team isn't. Like, they will always find a way to pin it on you. Despite any of your stats, despite any of it, they will always find a way to pin it on you. But it's just crazy to me, because then when you actually do win a game, it's as if you've never existed. Never. Now yes, I am slightly over-exaggerating, just a little bit. But the point is, if you have a DPS who noticeably isn't putting up good damage numbers or good eliminations, or you have a support who isn't putting up good healing numbers or getting enough saves or whatever, they will find a way to pin it on you as a tank player, whether it be you didn't switch soon enough, or you did die that one time and that snowballed into this massive snowball. But now in the end game, you guys can't stop. They will always find a way to put it on you. I've also noticed that every time the developers go to buff tanks, their aim is to buff the survivability, which makes sense considering there's only one tank, but the community doesn't seem to like this very much. Like us as tanks, we're not asking to survive more. We're asking to have fun, like everyone else. We're asking to be able to make mistakes like everyone else. But instead, you guys keep aiming to buff the survivability, which, we're already hated as a role, right? So now you're making it harder to deal with the already hated role. That's just adding to the toxicity. Now we're going to move on from the whole concept of feeling unappreciated to like my main issue with the role. And my main issue, it's much simpler. Tank just is not fun. And I know I'm not the only one experiencing this. Tank is just, it's just not fun. Now, of course, it's not fun because of the reasons I said previously, but also it's this format. Like 5v5, tank will never be fun. Counterwatch will always be the name of the game as long as we are in 5v5. Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, but as long as it is 5v5, we will always have some sort of rock, paper, scissors concept to the role. We are always going to be locked in this having to counter the opposite tank type of gameplay. Like, there's no fixing that with this format. It's just not happening. It can't happen. You know, a lot of people keep giving their opinion on the whole 6v6, 5v5 debate or whatever. Here's mine. It's quite simple. I think when it comes down to a game design standpoint, they can't make it 6v6, because when you look at it, let's say they do make a 6v6, right? Tank only gains, right? The only, like, support doesn't lose anything, DPS doesn't lose anything, because they can still fundamentally do their job as support in DPS. Whatever that job might be, you know, of course that's kind of where the opinions differ and whatnot, but they fundamentally can still do their job. Tank only can gain from that. So it's like, why not try it at least, right? Because they haven't even tried it, they haven't even brought it up. And I think that's because when it comes down to a game development standpoint, something with the engine or something with how they're gonna have to rework every tank or whatever the case may be, it just isn't possible right now. Now back to what I was saying, if you pick tank, the same 3 tanks will be picked every match, every day, and it will get so tired and so annoying, because here you can see the DPS and support experiment and try out new things and try out, you know, all these different and wacky combos. But no, the tanks, if you don't pick the same 3 tanks countering the enemy tank on and off, you're gonna lose. And again, you're gonna get blamed, but you're gonna get blamed anyway, so who really fucking cares? This is not fair, and this is not fun. Oh, you just spent $60 to $80 on a Reinhardt hammer skin? Well, haha, fucking joke's on you. You can't even play him in comp anyway, because he's not top 3 best, most picked, whatever tanks. This is not happening. The fact of the matter is, it's just too easy to counter one tank. Like, there's just too many heroes and abilities in the roster to single down on one key aspect of a team composition and just eliminate it. It's wild to me. Now, yes, tank mains have a bit of an ego. You know, I would say I have one myself, but it comes with the territory. We're tank mains. But it's not so big that we want the entire game focused around us. And personally, that's how I believe 5v5 would have to work. You'd have to focus completely around the tank. To make a single tank work, it would have to be raid boss levels. And I mean, honestly, I don't want that. As I've stated in previous videos, like, to me, the pride and funness of a tank is knowing that you're defending your team and knowing that you're essentially that front line, that shield, that damage mitigator. Like, you know, that's fun to me and whatnot. So having the game focused around me entirely just doesn't sound fun or intriguing at all. And right now, I feel like I can speak for everybody, whereas this 5v5 format has taken away all of that. It's taken all that from us. So, you know, that's why we have this chip on our shoulder, essentially. Now, what's my solution to all these issues? Why call for a boycott? What do I think it'll achieve? Well, let me explain. Right after a word from our sponsor. I'm joking. Here we go. Firstly, in DPS and support, you're not going to like this, but you're not supposed to be here anyway, so. But firstly, queue times are going to increase everywhere, in all ranks. Less tanks means a smaller pool to pull from, so ideally, this should affect all levels of play. You know, they keep justifying the shittiness of tank by saying, oh yeah, it's the least picked role, it's the least played role universally in all games, right? So, okay, let's stop playing for a little bit. Have them ask, oh, where's all the tank players at? Why are my games taking so long to find? You know, secondly, I hope this raises the appreciation for tanks, right? Because I already feel like it should be universally known that this role is miserable. So maybe people will start taking more understanding approach with the decisions tank players make and the mistakes that they end up making too. Lastly, this will force the Overwatch devs and ultimately Blizzard, because they'll be losing money, to sit down and either fix the role or remove it completely. And if they remove it completely, like I said, Blizzard will start losing money, because that's going to be a lot of players, despite how small they think the role is in popularity, that'll be a lot of players gone. And for those of you who are like, yeah, just go ahead and remove it, how do you remove the tanks? What are you going to make Reinhardt a fucking DPS? What are you going to make goddamn Zarya support? Like, what? Tank mains, listen. They think just because there's less of us that we can get put on the back burner and act like everything's fine and be patient and wait for these changes. They think just because we're not as loud as everybody else that we're going to be submissive and okay with our role being shit. They don't have answers to our problems, and they think that they can take their time on finding them. Personally, I think they need a little motivation to speed things up. Comment your thoughts down below. I really love reading your comments and responding to them and things like that. I love the engagement. Also, share this video. It's okay to take a break until things get better. Like, there's no reason and no point to wasting your time playing a game that only makes you mad. You're not getting a free skin by suffering. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more and like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. I'm so fucking tired of this goddamn game.